All right, good morning, traders. Today is April 21st, 2026. My name, Coach Carignan, lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody out there in podcast land, digital land, cyberland. Thank you for liking, subscribing, following my content, leaving kind words like that. Special shout out, Bob Jordan, John Jordan, Kathy, Sarah, Roasted, Ed Carter, Rick Sadler, everybody that shares the BYOB content, helping get the good word out there to the World Wide Web, helping you help other traders in their journey. Appreciate that. Love that. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the markets and let's just summarize everything that would happen. All right, so my SPY pivot this morning, 709.05, same thing it was yesterday. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. IWM made a new all-time high yesterday. SPY and Diamond Dow made inside days, closing over bullish traps over their 17 EMAs. FNGU, QQQ made lower highs and lower lows, closing near the 3 EMA of their bullish traps and over their 17 EMAs. I think QQQ closed over their bullish trap. FNGU closed, I think, inside their bullish trap. SPY closed with a 2-hour uptrend, 10-minute bullish consolidation. Gold, lower high, lower low, closing inside a bullish trap over the 17. Silver, same thing, I think. Lower high, lower low, closing inside a bullish trap over the 17. USO, higher high, higher low, closed inside a bearish trap under the flat 17. USO now in a downtrend unless they make a higher high. UNG made a higher high and a higher low, closing inside a bearish trap under the falling 17 EMA. US dollar index still in a downtrend, closed near 98.15. SPY max pain for today, 706 with a put to call ratio. Same thing it was yesterday, 1.6 puts for each call that expires today at 4:15. If this is your first time, excuse me, seeing this page, these are all in daily uptrends, kind of like a watch list, all right? So it's over the 17 EMA. These are all in daily downtrends under the 17 EMA. If they got a little star next to it, means they're building out a bull flag or a launch pad from which to launch higher. All right. If they got a little dash, means they already had the breakout. Again, if they got a little star next to it over here, they're building out a bear flag or a platform from which to dive lower. All right. So bullish, bearish, over the 17, under the 17 EMA on the daily charts. All right. Let's take a look at the markets. First, let's talk about the guidance from yesterday, okay, and the guidance from Friday. So let's pull up 15-minute chart, and let's see what we got here. Here's guidance from Friday. Observe bullish consolidation in the pre-market, post-market price action. It's a bullish environment. Trade the 10-minute uptrend, the current 10-minute uptrend. Trade a 10-minute downtrend below 699.22. Let's look at Friday's price action. That would be the 17th. You can see we started out, we had a 10-minute uptrend, and you can see 10-minute uptrend took us up to those highs up there at 712. Okay, so we went from basically 706. All right, where the uptrend started. Remember, we had an uptrend in the pre-market. Okay, so we just fell in. It was a river of money flowing into the SPY. All we had to do was just flip, trip, and fall into that river of money flowing into the SPY, and we made money. That's it. That's all it took. All you had to do was just fall in, all right? And then you come in, and you made money, all right? You should have made gains, okay? If you followed that 10-minute uptrend, until it ended right up there. Should have made gains. And this is SPY. So that was Friday's guidance right there. Okay? That was Friday's guidance. Let's take a look at yesterday's guidance. All right? And we have that right here. Okay? Observed a little bit of consolidation or price action under Friday's consolidation price action. It's a bearish environment, but we had another 10-minute uptrend in the pre-market. So, uptrend trumps environment because basically you trade the trend until the trend ends. That's it, okay? Stick with the trend. All right, so we traded, guess what? Another 10-minute uptrend coming out of the pre-market, all right, over 708. So let's see what we got yesterday. And it's going to be hard to see because everything's scrunched up. So let's do 10-minute chart. Let's see how far we can open this up. All right, so we had this was yesterday. So we had a 10-minute uptrend, and it ripped up here, right up here to the gap fill. Okay, so we followed this 10-minute uptrend, went to the gap fill, at which time price rolled over, and we flipped right into, we saw that price did not complete the gap fill. They actually left a few pennies on the table, which, if you don't know it, if you've never been in the BYOB trading room, that's a bearish clue, all right? The fact that the bulls come pennies away from filling the gap and they're not able to close the deal when they're right there, that's kind of shows weakness on their part for the day. So at that point, I saw that. So I flipped and went into, if I had any calls, which I probably sold them all off, into the gap fill. So went into puts with this 10-minute downtrend all the way down here to a bearish 10-minute rubber band candle right there, okay? And then from there, price just melted up all day. That's it. So the 10-minute uptrend got you profits up to the gap fill, which was a logical target up top. And then, of course, failing to meet the full gap fill, all right, should have got you into this 10-minute downtrend down there to the bearish 10-minute rubber band candle right there. So that's what happened Friday. That's what happened yesterday. Let's take a look at 10-minute chart. We got, it's kind of consolidation, under consolidation. If I'm looking at this and I'm looking at this, all right, but you can see they've undone it, all right, by moving up. So obviously the trend, they have a 10-minute uptrend in their in the pre-market, post-market. So again, the trend kind of trumps whatever environment was displayed previously because it's a new day. So we'll take a look at that in a minute here. But bullish, this was bullish consolidation, and it's hard to say it's bullish consolidation when it's underneath the prior price action of Friday. But if you pan way out here, okay, here's the origin of the rip, all right, from the 31st. We're up, and we're kind of over to the right, all right? So that's kind of that's more of a bull flag than it is a bear flag, all right? So it's kind of up and over to the right. So bullish consolidation for me. I mean, we gapped up. They never filled the gap. Again, showing weakness on the bears' part. All right, we had weakness on the bulls' part, not being able to fill the gap. But we also had weakness on the bears' part in that they couldn't even break the 10-minute bearish rubber band candle or fill the gap that was made back on Friday. Okay, so that gave me an idea that they're probably going to just pin it somewhere in the middle here all the way into the close, unless, of course, they were able to melt it back up and fill gap, but they never got to do that either. So I'm going to call it bullish consolidation. On the 2-hour candle, 2-hour chart, just going to take this off because kind of don't need them anymore. How did that come up? All right, let's move these out of the way. And you can see we've got the 3 EMA, all right, is plotting along with the candlesticks on top of the 8 EMA. We've got daylight between the 3 and the 8, so we have a 2-hour uptrend. You could call it bullish consolidation coming into the close on the 2-hour chart of the SPY. Okay, so 2-hour bullish consolidation or 2-hour uptrend. There's still daylight between the two of them. Let's take a look at the daily chart. Obviously, we're in an uptrend right here. Okay, you can see we've made new all-time highs, not yesterday, but on Friday right there. So we're bullish, all right, and in an uptrend. Anytime you're making new all-time highs, you better be bullish and in an uptrend. It's kind of hard not to do it without being bullish and in an uptrend. So there's SPY on the daily chart. It can be done. Bullish and in an uptrend on the SPY. Weekly chart, bullish. I'll zoom out. Here's the April origin. All right, that was the all-time high for a while. And then we had a pullback low, and then we rip. So we're bullish and in an uptrend on the weekly, and bullish and in an uptrend on the monthly. Now, my favorite trade, in case you don't know it, 10-minute uptrend. All right, that resides inside a 2-hour uptrend, that resides inside daily uptrend, inside a weekly uptrend, inside a monthly uptrend. Okay, you got all the bigger time frames supporting my little 10-minute uptrend to last longer and to go further. I like it especially when it's up over the all-time high anchored VWAP. We'll see what happens today. We got SPY's challenging the all-time highs. Let me pull this down. SPY's challenging the all-time highs right now in the pre-market. You can see it up there. It's 711.40, 711.35. All-time highs 712.59 or something like that. So there's SPY on the monthly chart, bullish and in an uptrend. Let's take a look at QQQ. Now, there's 2 indexes here pretty heavily correlated, all right? And that's QQQ and SPY. If you have a position, all right, if I have a position that happens to be, let's just say it's going in the wrong direction, okay? You can either shut it down or you can neutralize it by going in the correct direction with the other index. Most times. I'm just saying that that's a possibility. Now, if you want the highest performing index, it's going to be the NASDAQ. That's the QQQ, all right? It's going to give you much better, it's not much better, it's going to give you a little bit better performance than the SPY. If you look at the 10-day moving average here, notice the moves are bigger. Okay, 10-day average is 973. Okay, if we go back to SPY, the 10-day average is 794. Okay, so almost $2.25 higher or more around. All right, so you can see SPY 10-day average is 744. QQQ, all right, 973. Okay, so you get much better performance by trading the QQQ. Let me just say, they're both correlated. When one moves up, it's very rare that the other one doesn't move up right along with it. Okay, so if you wanted a better performing index, QQQ is the way to go. But it's not quite as broad as the SPY. All right, so just something to think about. If you want performance, think about trading QQQ. I trade it sometimes. I like to stick with the SPY. I've been trading the SPY for a long time, and I plan to trade QQQ right alongside it sometimes. All right, so there's QQQ. Let's start with the 10-minute chart. You can see daylight here between the 3. You got the 3 and the sticks plotting on top of the 8. Kind of got a cross here, so you got bullish consolidation coming into the close. You can see price action consolidating on top of VWAP here, so bullish consolidation coming into the close. Again, I'll zoom way out. You can see price goes up and holds the higher ground. Notice, again, just like SPY, they did not fill the gap. All right, they failed to fill the gap. And on QQQ, they did happen to fill the gap up here for yesterday. Okay, so yesterday QQQ did fill the gap. SPY did not, but they both had kind of the same price action. 10-minute uptrend into in the pre-market, right up into the gap fill. From there, it was a rollover. All right, with a 10-minute downtrend coming down here to the bearish 10-minute rubber band candle, and then they flipped from there, and then they started to melt back up. Okay, so you can see here's the open gap. So they came down to where the open gap is, and then they kind of reverse course right there. QQQ showing some strength. Bulls showing some strength, not allowing the gap to get filled. You can see they probably hit pretty close to minor support on the intraday charts. Okay, so you can see price pulls back to what was a peak. All right, so that would be resistance up here. Now it becomes support when price gets on top of it, pulls back, tests the peak right here, and then they start to melt back up. So there's QQQ 10-minute bullish consolidation, just like SPY. 2-hour chart. You got the sticks and the 3 plotting up over the 8. You got daylight between the 3 and the 8. So you got a 2-hour uptrend coming into the open, all right, or coming into the close last night. Daily chart, again, lower high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap. All right. Top of quadrant 4, that's got to be bullish. All right. And they got highs. They're making higher highs and in an uptrend. So QQQ bullish and in an uptrend on the daily chart as well. Weekly chart. Here's the origin. April, rally up. New all-time high made right up there. Friday, not yesterday, Friday. Okay, price action, obviously top of quadrant 4. That's bullish and in an uptrend. Could probably move this up to here now because we got new all-time highs. Monthly chart, bullish and in an uptrend. See all the green dots? We haven't made any lower lows. So this uptrend line, I'm going to take this out because we don't need that anymore. All right, so there's QQQ, also bullish and in an uptrend. Let's take a look at IWM, see what they're doing. So IWM puts in a new all-time high. You can see Friday's high here is 277.63. Yesterday's high for IWM, that's the Russell 2000, 277.67. All right, so higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap, closing over the rising 17, over the prior all-time high anchored VWAP. Could probably move this up to this one. All right, so top of quadrant 4, we're bullish and in an uptrend. There's a high. We're making higher highs. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Diamond Dow puts in an inside day. It's a lower high, a higher low. Closed over a bullish trap, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Top of quadrant 4, that's bullish. Still in a downtrend. They haven't made a higher high yet. This is the first high you come to that protrudes through the 17, right up here. First one. So right there, they're close. All right. You can see daylight over that green candle wick right here. So you can see daylight right there. So still not high enough yet. So it's bullish because we're up here in quadrant 4, but we're still in that dysfunctional downtrend, and that downtrend's not moving down anymore. it's actually melting up or moving to the right. So there's Diamond Dow, bullish, dysfunctional downtrend. SPY, QQQ, IWM, bullish, and in uptrends. Let's take a look at FNGU, see what Stinker's up to. Lower high, lower low, closing in a bullish trap, closing over the rising 17. If we pan out, we can get a bigger picture here. Okay, this would be the all-time. Okay, so this would be the all-time low right here. That would be the all-time high. That makes this pink line the all-time high anchored VWAP. This is the quad lines right here. Separates it into 4 equal quadrants. So anything over the 50-yard line is going to be kind of bullish in nature. Everything under the 50-yard line is going to be kind of bearish in nature, okay? If it's in the upper third, for me, it's bullish, all right? If it's in the lower third, for me, it's bearish, all right? So this would be neutral bullish from the 50-yard line up to the lower part of the upper third, right up there, okay? So price action, you can see, is up in quadrant 3, the middle of quadrant 3, not quite bullish yet, all right? But so it's neutral, all right? And they got a high here, and they're in an uptrend. So neutral and in an uptrend for FNGU, not quite in the upper third yet. Okay, so that's the daily chart for FNGU. Let's take a look at precious metals. Start with silver. All right, silver and gold, I think they both gave us the same candles yesterday. Got a lower high, lower low. We closed inside a bullish trap over a hooking, starting to hook, 17 EMA, wavy 17 EMA, rising, a little bit rising, not much. All right, so pan way out. Again, just like FNGU, silver, neutral, but you can see there's a high over the 17, and I got a higher high, so that's uptrend. So neutral and in an uptrend there for silver, all right? Gold looking a little bit better, all right? Gold, again, same as silver, lower high, lower low, closed in the bullish trap, just like silver, closing over the hooking 17. That's these red dots that turn to green dots. So it's over the 17 EMA. So, and if I pan way out here, you'll see the origin of the gold trade, which starts way back here in 2022, goes up here, makes a new all-time high, all right, 2026. All right, so here we are for gold. You can see we're up here in quadrant 4. Just want you to see that. So that's bullish because we're in the upper third. All right, and we're in an uptrend because we're making highs and we're making higher highs. So bullish and in an uptrend for gold, okay? Remember, silver neutral to bullish because silver was in quadrant 3, not quadrant 2. So neutral bullish. See, it was over the 50-yard line, neutral, bullish. Not bullish in an uptrend, just kind of neutral. And in an uptrend, making higher highs and higher lows. Let's take a look at USO. High flyer here due to that global skirmish going on over there in the Middle East. All right, so price action, higher low, higher high. No, yeah, both. Higher low, higher high. Closing inside a bearish trap, but under that flat 17 EMA. All right, so you can see here's a low. And you can see here we made a lower low. So now the question is, did we make a higher high? Clearly, we didn't get it yet. Okay, so maybe it's coming. We're in the upper third. Okay, notice we're in the upper third, so we're bullish. All right, because we're in the upper third. We're not quite in quadrant 4, but we're in the upper third. So for me, that's bullish in the upper third. And we're still in the downtrend. All right, because... well, that's what they made. It's a downtrend until they convert it to an uptrend. All right. The nice thing is that the downtrend is not getting extended. All right. Right after making the downtrend, it looks like price reversed and is now melting up. So it looks like Another one of those possible dysfunctional downtrends for USO in that the downtrend's not moving down, it's actually moving up and over to the right. So there's USO. And that was going to be bullish because we're up here in the upper third, but in that dysfunctional downtrend. Okay, let's take a look at UNG. All right, UNG trying to stage a comeback here. Higher low, higher high, closing inside the bearish trap under the falling 17. They're struggling. This is the all-time low right here. All right, that's the all-time low. This is 12-month high. All right, so that makes this the 12-month high anchored VWAP right there. All right, you can see we're down here and back out one more time. That's quadrant 4. We're in quadrant 1. So that we're bearish because we're in the lower third. All right, and we got a low. We made lower lows. All right, so we're in a downtrend. So bearish and in a downtrend. No surprise there. And underneath the midpoint right here, underneath the 12-month high anchored VWAP. So bearish and in a downtrend for UNG. Let's take a look at technicals. T2101. So market kind of hung in there, holding the higher ground. Participation increase. That's a bullish sign for me. Like that. Let's take a look at T2122. We camped out in the overbought zone again for another day. All right, just proof of what I said back here on the 13th or 14th that don't get excited doesn't mean we're coming all the way down to the oversold. We could camp out up here for 3 or 4 days, maybe more. And you can see price action up here in the overbought zone, camped out for the 14th, the 15th, the 16th, the 17th, and now the 20th. And now we're moving on to 21, and I'm seeing the market challenge those highs. Okay, so we could be up here for yet again another day. All right, in the overbought zone, obviously that's going to be bullish. All right, you can't get up here to the overbought zone without being bullish. So there's T2122. T2123. Okay, so if you remember Friday, bullish gap up, never got filled by the bears. A little bit of continuation of what was going on Friday. You can see they never came back to fill the gap yesterday. Actually, they just melted it up. All right, so we have a low. Obviously, we never made any lower lows to put us into a downtrend. We have a high, and we made higher highs. So that's an uptrend up there. We're up over the hooking or the rising 200 SMA. That's bullish. That's where you want to be if you're a bull. This happens to be the all-time high right there. We're going to slip the quad line.
Hey, good morning, everybody. How are we doing today?
Hold on,
welcome to Tuesday, April 21, 2000.
Right there. Okay. And let me do this one on the other room. All right, so T2123. Middle of quadrant 4. That's going to be bullish. All right, and you can see highs making higher highs, so we're in an uptrend. Bullish in an uptrend on the 15-minute chart. Not quite the same on the 3-bar. All right, I'm going to take this out. All right, let's pan out here. You can see here's the origin of our move back here in April. We run up, and we made a new all-time high in the later months of 2025, right here. All right, pulled back, made a higher low, and then ripped. And at the beginning of the year, we made a new all-time high again, all right, for the year of 2026. All right, so now we pulled back, stayed in the upper third. Remember I said you stay in the upper third. I'm bullish, all right, if they stay in the upper third. So we stayed up here in quadrant 4, actually. All right, so we're bullish up here. But we haven't made a higher high yet, okay? All we've done is we got this downtrend, all right, that's not moving down. It's actually melting up. Now, if they take out this high right here, they will negate the downtrend and convert the uptrend. And they are ever so close to printing new all-time highs on T2123 3-bar chart. Again, we're up over that rising 200 SMA. That's where I want to be if I'm a bull right there. So that is bullish, but in a dysfunctional downtrend and nearing the all-time highs at this moment. All right, that's T2123, 3-bar chart. Stinker on the 15. Stinker got a bearish gap down yesterday. Okay, they got a low right here. This was Friday's low. They made a lower low, so they're in a downtrend. Okay, not to worry. They're up over the rising 200 SMA. Hey, that's where you want to be if you're a bull. All right, so little pullback is healthy. You know, pick up some spinach. You know, some mustard. All right, a little bit of red meat. All right, and then make another run up at those highs. Okay, so here's FNGU on the 15. Obviously, we're in a downtrend. Let's put the quad lines in there. We're over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's a good sign. All right, if you're going to be a bull, over the hooking or rising 200, that's a good sign. If you're going to be a bull, let's put the quad lines in. Stop talking about it. All right, let's drag this over. See if we can capture as much of this price action as we can. Okay, so we're top of quadrant 4. Well, actually middle of quadrant 4. That's bullish. All right, but in a downtrend right now. Just bullish, but in a downtrend. All right, not much of a downtrend. Okay, still got a bullish gap here that hasn't been filled. Got a bullish gap here. Right there, that hasn't been filled. Okay, so we got a bearish gap here that hopefully gets filled sometime today. We'll see. That's FNGU on the 15-minute chart. U.S. dollar index, daily chart of the U.S. dollar index. Here's 2025 high. Actually came out at the beginning of the 2025 calendar year. From there, we go into a daily downtrend, and then we go into a daily bear flag. Okay, so daily downtrend making lower highs and lower lows. All right, and then into a daily bear flag. If we look over here to the left, okay, all of this is consolidation. All right, making the bottom of this major support. So we came down and we broke major support. So we've tried 5 times to break back up into this area. And we failed each time since we've been in this bear flag, which started back in May. It's almost, you can see May right here, 2025. It's almost a year-long bear flag right here. So here's price action. We have a low right there. See that low? And we're making lower lows, so we're in a daily downtrend inside the bear flag. Okay, so that is the U.S. dollar index. Let's take a look at technicals. I will go over the game plan and try to set us up with some guidance. It's much easier to come up with guidance at 9:15 than it is at 8:15, just stating that a lot can happen in 60 minutes. So I will go over the game plan before I leave. All right. Economic calendar is relatively uneventful. All right. Today we got retail sales coming out at 8:30. We got business inventories at 10. Pending home sales index at 10, and then that's it. Supposedly Trump was supposed to speak at 8:30 this morning. I don't know if he spoke. I don't know if he's speaking now. I think he wanted to inspire the markets to go higher. I don't know. We'll find out. I saw last night that doesn't look like the ceasefire held. I don't know. We'll find out. You know, in the news eventually. NBA mortgage applications tomorrow at 7. So we could receive some volatility right now due to, I don't know. He may tweet. He may speak. I don't know what he's going to do. NBA mortgage applications at 7 tomorrow. EIA petroleum status report 10:30. That's every Wednesday, almost every Wednesday unless it's a holiday. 10:30. Again, natural gas inventories 10:30 on Thursday. Almost every Thursday unless it's a holiday or a government shutdown. Okay, either one will do it. We'll change the day. All right. So again, not much going on Wednesday. Not much going on Tuesday. Let's take a look at Thursday. Jobless claims at 8:30. PMI composite flash 9:45. Gas report, natural gas 10:30. And again, quiet day after that. Friday, what do we got? Consumer sentiment at 10 and a rig count at 1. See, really uneventful week this week. So not much to get in the way of a rally if they want to keep it going. Just saying, all right? There's not much to stand in the way. Other than earnings. Earnings could stand in the way, all right? As far as the economics go, I don't see anything to stand in the way. Let's go to earnings. Earnings, we've got, where are we? Tuesday. Okay, GE Aerospace, that's probably going to be a lot of defense. $317 billion. All right, so a third of a trillion. All right, so they're going to report this morning. UNH, 294, another third of a trillion. Going to report this morning. RTX, okay, I'm pretty sure that's Raytheon, or used to be Raytheon, not sure. But again, 264 billion. That's a quarter of a trillion dollars. Intuitive Surgical, 166 billion. Danair Corporation, 137 billion. Again, all market cap here. Not much on the line of technology. Now, you would think GE Aerospace and Raytheon could qualify for technology, but I think they just take current technology and adapt it to whatever they're making for their finished products. Okay, so when it comes to the tip of the spear, we want to look at microchips and things that increase technology. And there's not much here. Okay, Northrop Grumman, you can see Capital One Finance. Okay, not much here. So that's mainly technology is going to influence the markets and financials. Okay, so financials and technology are the biggest market movers. Okay, not to say that these can't kind of influence the market, but for the most part, we look forward to the future, and technology is the tip of the spear when it comes to moving higher. As you can see, this rally was made on Intel, NVIDIA, everything to do with technology and AI, pretty much. Tomorrow, what do we got? Tesla, there's technology. Okay, so all eyes going to be on Tesla, Lam Research. I think they do some tech as well, Lam Research. Tomorrow night, all right? You can see $1.5 trillion. GE Vernova, $269 billion. Philip Morris, IBM, Texas Instruments. IBM used to be a leader in technology. Recently, not quite there. They help support the technology sector big time. But for the most part, not a big market mover anymore. Not like the chip stocks. Anybody that makes those semiconductors that are actually able to compute and compress and move and read and print and write a lot of data. All right, so those are really the future. IBM uses them in a lot of their machines, but for the most part, they're not a maker of the semiconductors. So keep an eye on that SMH, which I think is at all-time highs. Thursday, all right, so this will be a market-moving day. Okay, a lot of volatility could be wrapped up around Lam Research and Tesla. Thursday, what do we got? Intel's going to report $343 billion. American Express, $227 billion. All eyes going to be on Intel. All right, they'll make a note of this, all of this, but basically whatever Intel's reporting is going to be most important for this day, and that doesn't come out till Thursday evening. Friday, $341 billion. Procter & Gamble, Southern Copper, $159 billion. HCA Healthcare. Again, a lot of familiar names and even a lot of market cap. but not really able to really manipulate the market, not like technology can. All right, so whatever sentiment's going on after Intel and Tesla and Lam Research report, you're liable to see that whatever sentiment's going on there continue. So whatever direction they go off into after these report, probably going to be what's going to happen. They'll probably continue that into Friday. Taking the pre-market, let's take a look at pre-market for SPY, and we will look at the game plan. All right, so overnight we've got some consolidation right here. Okay, just going to box that off. And then morning time we've got some more consolidation. Not quite over, but slightly above. Some of it is over, some of it is not. Some of it is lateral, but you can see a little bit of consolidation over some prior consolidation. That would be a bullish environment. We had a 10-minute uptrend, melt up 10-minute uptrend right here. But you can see I don't think it brought us to new all-time highs. No, wait, high. The high right there is 712.28. And the high here is 712.23, 712.39. Okay, so we missed highs by not much, by pennies. All right, so in the pre-market, see how high we were? So I would look for a 10-minute uptrend to manifest again, all right? Or a bearish 10-minute rubber band candle that snaps back to VWAP. And I would love to see them go up there and try it again in the open market, all right? So I think we're back making a new all-time high again today. I can see that's in the pre-market. If you see a 10-minute uptrend, it's a good chance we take it on. We ride it on back up to these highs. Again, we've got 715 is where the call wall is as far as the gamma exposure goes. So I could see us going all the way to 715 if we get up over and make a new all-time high sometime early in the day. I want there to be some time left for us to melt on up to 715. Okay, so again, we're going to need to get up there earlier in the day. So we'll wait and see. Let's take a look at the game plan. And that's this right here. I'm going to move this out of the way for right now. You can see got some price action above prior price action. So we're going to come over here to the game plan. So my plan this morning is if there's a 10-minute uptrend, all right, that's existing in the pre-market, I'm going to go with the trend, okay? I'm going to go with the trend. All right, that's my plan. Doesn't mean that we will get a 10-minute uptrend. I'm just saying we're pulling back now. If there is a 10-minute uptrend, I plan to fall into that river of money that's flowing into the SPY. Okay, so there's SPY. This is daily chart. Let's take the game plan on the 15. And you can see that the pivot, it's the same thing it was yesterday, 709.05. Green erases red over 712.40. Red erases green underneath 705.75. That's the SPY game plan. I like Friday options on the multiple of 5. I like strikes that are at the money. So if price is trading at 710, so I would like the 710 calls, the 709 calls, or the 711 calls, okay? Provided I'm bullish. All right, let's take a look at QQQ. QQQ game plan, same thing. I like the Friday options on the multiple of 5. Strikes at the money. I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. Got green erases red over 650. Pivot 646.65. Yep. And red erases green underneath that tail right there from yesterday. That's 642.50 right there. All right. If there's any questions, I'll take questions. If not, I will be back in 30 minutes to open up the markets with you. All right. Thank you, traders.